So from now on, from this area, plant nutrition on, I'm just going to go really fast. I want to cover everything that I have here. And I just wanted to show you some other trials that we did. So plant nutrition, we did controlled release fertilizers and residual fertility. Company wanted to know if once you plant those things in the landscape, the plants that were grown with controlled release fertilizer, do they have an advantage? And then the use of pure green biopellets. You all got a summary, and you can get information on everything that we did in that summary, because I'm not going to be discussing the results for this trial. Just a picture that I want to show you. So we tried controlled release fertilizers with geraniums and with algae, and this is the control. So they do work, and I'm kind of skeptical because I have seen issues with slow release fertilizers, but it seems that the new generation of products, it works better, or it works good, let me put it that way. We did not apply any supplemental fertilizer on any of these plants. So this is the control. This was 20-10-20, 250 parts per million once a week. And I can't remember every treatment. I'm sorry about that, but these were all high and low rate of 3 types of control release fertilizer. And what makes the difference is the rate. And it was the same when we planted the things in the landscape. So if there was going to be an effect of residuality, it was because we used the higher rate. So those plants look better. But it wasn't really, the comparison between liquid and slow release was not significant, except when we used really high rates of control release fertilizer. So would you like more studies on fertilizers? I get a lot of requests for studying natural products, soil amendments, microbial products that are supposed to increase plant quality and plant health. And so it's part of fertilizers. So I would like to know if you want some more studying on fertilization. And I think the next slide is the one that addresses the natural products. This is just for chemical fertilizers. All right, we're going down. 21 when the first one was 27. So let's say just start clicking. Click one more time. If you click one more time and you already did it, it doesn't count. All right, so everything. There's a trial, and I'll talk about that later on, but we are thinking about studying the effect of type of fertilizer and substrate on nitrogen and phosphorus leachate. So there's some work that's going to be done. What about organic and naturals? This is the slide I was referring about. So you want to study just chemical fertilizers? Again, you might have a little bit of interest in some other things, but please choose the one that's most important to you. Organic fertilizers or natural amendments, or maybe everything. All right, so there's still a huge interest on chemical fertilizers and basically combinations of everything. You're making it easier for me. I can just choose anything I want to study. Crop safety, we did a little bit of this. We worked with the IR4 program, and we were very thankful for their support. The data for this study was very good, and we did it on succulent plants. It's part of their priorities now that they don't have a lot of information on succulent plants. And so they are doing more work with them. And this is just to show you some interesting things that we found. If you wanted more detail, you can read in the summary. We found, for example, jade. It was pretty tough, believe it or not. And we tested, it was 6 products at different rates. And what we found is that some of them caused stunting, especially was tower that was particularly tough on this one. But see that coloration, that was also an effect that we saw that was basically the type of herbicide. And then we found that in some cases we got necrosis, we got the yellowing, the chlorosis. It was particularly tough on Echeveria. This was Echeveria imbricata, and this was tower. And it didn't matter the rate, it did cause a lot of damage. And you can see here a close-up. But we also found, interestingly, this is my control, and this was echelon. And we found an effect on growth. I mean, this wasn't this wasn't an artifact. There was a huge significant difference in size between the control and the herbicide. So something that maybe we need to study further because it was doing something to the plant to make it grow. So are you interested in crop safety? We've already had requests. We will be doing some more work similar to what I just presented. But is it important to you that we do crop safety? So you have had issues with insecticides mainly, burning or phytotoxicity because of insecticides, or maybe disease control, or herbicides, or maybe you've had issues with everything. But in which direction should we go? All right. It makes it easier. But yeah, with crop toxicity, sometimes it's hard to establish priorities because basically, depending on the plant, you can have a bad reaction with anything you use. If you have a specific concerns about products, things that have already caused issues, take advantage of that and just write that on the form. When we are doing the toxicity experiments, if you had, for example, succulents that were very susceptible to certain herbicides or products, that's something I would like to know because sometimes I can add an extra treatment or two and just provide answer to a specific question that you may have. What about water management? I'm not discussing any of the water management studies that I did today. Actually, and you know what? I didn't include the option of you don't want anything. Working with water management is really hard. Maybe I should have included that. But it's important. I have heard comments about that. What I would like to use is which area is what's most important. So the use of saline water, or using salt-tolerant species, drought-tolerant species, or maybe using materials that improve water use efficiency, or things that increase shelf life. The example would be Contigo. That's a product from Valent. And we have done a little bit of work with that, with variable results. We are still working on that data. But please go ahead and input. I have 21 responses. And 61% wants materials that improve water use efficiency. Okay, that means things that are used during the growth cycle that may result in plants that were using less water but had better quality, or similar quality to plants that were using 100% water. So what's next? That's what I have for today. That's just a preview of what we did, a small summary of what we did in 2012. A preview of what we are going to do next is, like, for example, we have requests for efficacy trials for whitefly control. Again, using biorationals. There's just a huge interest in reducing use of pesticides. So we are going to be testing if some of these natural pesticides actually work good for whitefly. I didn't present data on that, but we did a trial similar to what we will be doing this year for thrips. And I'm sorry to say that soft products don't work for thrips. They just don't. We'll be doing, like I mentioned, herbicide toxicity of cactus and succulents. We'll be working with LIGOs as well, doing trials in field conditions or greenhouse conditions. We'll continue working with agave mealybug and aloe aphid, and I haven't talked about those because Jim is going to be discussing them. We'll do some work on biopellets. It's a good resource. The biopellets are made from human waste disposal. They are abundant, and although there's a lot of work to be done with them, just working on rates, they are very affordable, and I think it might be an option for a lot of growers, local growers. So we'll do some work on that. Plant shelf life extension, I kind of knew that you were going to go on that, but we'll do some of that. We'll continue working with Contigo. There are some other products, Stacy's Root Zone, that can be used for that. And then hopefully we'll get funding for studying nutrient leachate in irrigation water when we have different substrates and then different fertilizers. Other activities, I can't let you go without talking about the workshops. And you have a setup over there. This is just to display that the kind of materials that we use. We do, in collaboration with UCC, we offered bilingual trainings in English and Spanish, and we have two right now: pest monitoring on ornamental plant production and the safe and effective use of pesticides. Last year, we also had internships, and this year we hope to have more. We have established communications with people from California State University in San Marcos, and apparently there's a lot of interest on getting students to get real experience in horticulture. And there's people there, there are professors that actually have the money, so I didn't have to pay the interns, and we had a great experience with them. They're really hardworking.
On your last slide, you mentioned the agave mealing and the, I guess more the outline, stuff like the outline. But have you looked into maybe studying the Greek line? You ever put them out on agave?
Not yet, but I have had questions about that. And it's definitely a project where we can work with. Is it an Area 5? God, I hate Area 5. But yes, we can definitely, if I can work with Almite, I can definitely work with Agave. And write suggestions, write comments in the forum. So the workshops will be offered again this year. We'll have several, and it's been a very rewarding experience. We've gotten really positive feedback, so please consider, for your managers, for your workers, consider them because they're really good. Now, I would like you to please answer about the workshops. Should we continue? If you had any experience with the workshops, if you are not familiar with them, maybe this is a question that is not for you. But if you did, should we continue offering the same or add new subjects, or you just didn't find them useful? So please go ahead. Okay, so if you answer that we should add new subjects, go ahead and make a note in that form that I provided so that I know what kind of subjects are of interest to you, please. Oh, this is a good one. So go ahead and answer that one. Have you ever submitted a project or idea to CfAHR? Yes, no, but nobody will submit one. So please go ahead and input that one. So I got 24% of you said no, but I will submit one. So I need to have, I'll get 24% of how many people are here. And I'm expecting that number of ideas. Now, if you've never submitted one, please do so. My email is in that summary that you got, and I promise I'll answer. And I may not be able to set up a trial right away, but it's something that I take into consideration and things that I keep in mind for when I'm designing trials. And to those of you that actually have submitted ideas, thank you very much. One of the hardest things have been to get feedback from growers and people in the industry. So thank you very much for taking the time to do that. On a final note, feedback. Again, it's important. Please fill a form if you have one. It's going to allow me to prioritize areas of studies. You will be able to provide multiple answers if that's what you wanted, and address specific problems. So give us feedback. I cannot finish this presentation without thanking our supporters. All these companies right here have provided financial support. I have to thank Craig from Syngenta. Craig sponsored lunch today. And also Karen Stringer from Everest, that she's also sponsoring part of the lunch today. So thank you very much. Your support is greatly appreciated. We have gotten great support from the Kikiyama Research Foundation and the Canners Foundation. Jim will be discussing a project that they have supported that I believe is really important. The IR4 project, I don't want to even mention anyone anymore because I'm afraid I'm going to forget someone. But we have had support. Thank you very much. People that have donated supplies, plants, substrates, and even their time. Thank you very much. We are doing a lot of work. Just a couple of days ago, we were talking about the incredible amount of projects that we got to work with today. That is not possible if we don't have support. So the center has expenses. And if you consider doing a donation, it's something that we would greatly appreciate. So it's going to, your support is what we need to continue with the same level of work that we have been doing. Our limitant right now is supplies and labor. We need to get more people to continue doing more. So in any way that you could help, it would be greatly appreciated. And I think I'm not forgetting anyone. If I did, please call it to my attention, and I'm sorry. But I think that's it. So with that, I would like to conclude. I would like to wish you for a year that brings you plants that look like this. But if you don't get them, remember to smile. And with that, I'm going to finish my presentation. Thank you very much. I don't believe I have time for questions.